These are drive dogs. These are very, very good. Where's Roddy? If you make wheels, Roddy. So if you want to make a whole bunch of wheels for little kids' toys and stuff, cut them out round or square or whatever you like and drill the axle hole. There's the axle hole, right? You put that into your chuck. You can see my chuck jaws here, and it will center up there. Put it into your chuck. And then to turn your wheel, you slip that up onto that stub there, which is the axle. And if you have a look at those little drive dogs there, that will then drive the wheel. If you're turning a lot of little miniatures, I know Sid's not here tonight, is he? No. If you're turning a lot of little wee stuff like, you know, little earrings and little tiny bits, the smallest thing I've ever turned is a 7mm high pawn for a bone chess set. I was flying back from the States. I was sitting there minding my own business, and I was by the window a little bit, and this American guy sitting there, and he had this miniature chess set. He said, "Do you want to play chess?" I said, "I don't play chess. I hate chess." He said, "Oh, I'll playing something on it," and he was diddling with it. And the usher walked down the aisle and bumped his elbow, and it was a little miniature pocket chess set out of bone, and it went toong into the plane like this. And it scattered all over the plane. And anyway, we're all down on our hands and knees looking for this miniature chess set, and there was one piece missing, right? And it was one of the pawns turned out of bone. It was about 7 mils high. It was a tiny little wee thing. And he found out what I did for a living. He says, "Can you turn me another one?" He said, "I'll pay you whatever you like because we can't find the one that's missing." And so he did. He gave it to me anyway. I took the piece of bone. I just used a piece of beef bone. And I put it into the Jacob's chuck. If you put one of these in, once again, shove it in. You can't pull it out. And take your piece of bone, cut it with a hacksaw, and shove your piece of bone in there, lock it up there. It's a normal Jacob's chuck used for drilling. But isn't that a nice little way to hold it? You can turn brass on a wood lathe, you can turn bone, plastic and aluminium. This is just a normal double-sided tape. Now, surprisingly enough, this is the beast that holds a lot of panels onto the outside of aircraft. Double-sided tape. And this is very, very sticky. Two sides that are sticky, so you can take a flat plate like that sanding disc that I had that's around here somewhere. There it is. You can take a flat piece of custom board, very, very clean surface there. And then you can take something like a smaller funny looking thing that you've had a go at. I poured these into resin here 48 years ago. Those bugs into that resin there. If I wanted to polish them or if I wanted to do something that without marking it, I could clean a surface of the faceplate and hold with double-sided tape onto the resin, or you can polish Kauri gum that way. And as long as it's dead flat and flat to flat, push it onto the double-sided tape and then you can work that surface and you haven't marked it in any way. You follow that? Mm-hmm. So this is double-sided tape, very, very strong. It doesn't look sticky until you pull the surfaces off. If you were putting this onto custom board, I'd advise that you put a sanding sealer on there first. Tighten up the surface, or use a piece of Ceratone that has got that white, you know, lammy wall type surface. Now, if you want to turn something and fit it in, say you don't own a chuck or any fancy jaws, you've only got a woodworm screw and a bit of basics. There's the woodworm screw, and there's another option. This is a blank of timber that I've had up there with the woodworm screw. You'll see my thread there into the 9mm hole. And you want to turn something that is through and in a hole, like what I was explaining about the balls that you were doing. You can clip it up to that edge and it will stay there because it's a friction fit all the way around. It's a jam chuck. So that friction on there is incredibly strong. You can take a bigger hole like that and you can turn the back of this bowl with your woodworm screw. Then you can turn it round and put that into a jam chuck right on the top here. Do you see that? And put that into the jam chuck so you're frictioning that all the way around there like that. Do you follow that? Mm-hmm. It's a simple little rocking bowl like what Trev was explaining. So bowls without bases are just fun. That's what they should do. You should just embrace that, not say, where's the base, is it going to tip over? Of course it's not going to tip over, because it'll naturally go back to the centre. So if you want to turn that, then straight up onto the woodworm screw or your faceplate, turn the dome, no base at all. You'll have to force yourself to do that. No base at all. Then turn it round, make yourself a jam chuck with a bigger hole than that, and push it into there until it clips up as a friction fit on that peak there. On that peak. See that there? Clip it up on the peak and then turn the inside out of it. The beauty of it is you can put it up there under friction, no glue, no nothing. Put it up under the friction and then just bump it, take it out and feel the wall thickness. You think, oh, it's still a bit thick down the bottom, or you need to measure it or so. Then take it out, bump it back in, square it up and take a bit more off. And you haven't marked the piece in any way. That's been in and out of a jam chuck. It's a little jam chuck necklace in there turned out of centre. It's just a jam friction fit, because I've turned a portion of it and then I've taken that back into a jam chuck to turn the centre the rest of the way. John has brought this in, and your question was, John?
How the hell do I hold that?
Okay, so you want to cut that off and you want to re-hollow it.
Yeah.
So you could do this, John, with a box jig and hot glue. Is to make a box jig that is longer and then have some hot glue around this shank, so you can hold that easily and you can come down and part that off and hollow it as well. Our box jig comes out like this, and remember this has 4 sides to it, right? Not just 2. So you've got a box there, so looking end on, it looks like this.
Yes.
Right? And you shove the piece on, so you take some coarser paper, about 120 or something, and you just scratch up a little bit of that surface around there. And you get your hot glue gun. And you put a decent bead here, here, and here of hot glue. Right, you have to work fairly quickly with the hot glue. And I'd warm it up really, really well first, and just take a shot at it where the pieces are, and a shot out of there. Do it all on the lathe there, or even upside down in the vise like that, so you're not holding the box as well as this. And then hot glue it in there. If you're worried about getting it really, really accurate for centre, then you could do it in the lathe and shove it in there and align it up with where the tailstock is. Right. You do get a little bit of time to move it, right? Yeah. And in doing that, stuff some rubber or such in the box first, just to take up a bit of that void of space. It'll allow you to not flog around when you're trying to that last bit of position. So you want then your hot glue gun round in there, shove it in there, and then as much as people say it's ready in half an hour to turn, I'd leave it a lot longer than that. Just let it, be patient with it. And I'd do it if it was me, I'd do it last thing in the afternoon and then turn it and carry on with it first thing the next day. Yeah. It's just the way I work. I don't want to take any risks, because you don't want to do it twice. No. So then I would go setting then about cutting that off and organising that, and then you can hollow that out. I'm done. Is anybody? Just I'd like to read through this list here but finally to just get you to realise how extensive it is. And I had another 10 to show you, and I knew I wouldn't fit it in. But we've covered the between centre turning, from the ability to hold stuff between centres with step centres and the normal between centre stuff. Face plates, straight into the headstock for small work with the taper. Woodworm screw, the live centre system, inline drilling, glue blocks onto your work, jam chucks, which we've just talked about, hot glue gun into the box jigs, double-sided tape, suction with the vacuum cleaner, pressure plate between centres for the coasters, tapered cones for fitting hollow forms backwards, drive dogs, box jig, and a Jacob's chuck. There's 15 there.
Well done.